The most common video I've been asked for is to talk people through my electrical setup. So basically how I take this boat and make it electric and make it work. And I'm in the boatyard at the moment, so I am starting where I think the start of the system is, on top of the boat. Now when you're dealing with an electric boat, people tend to seem to focus on the batteries. But I think differently. I think the heart of my system is actually where the power is made, and that is in these 8 solar panels. So I'm facing stern of the boat, I'm facing backwards, and this is the starboard side. I have one panel there, a second panel there, and then on the arch at the back I have 1, 2, 3, 4 panels, and 2 more on the port side. And each of these panels, let me see if I can zoom out, here we go. Each of these panels is 400 watts, which means in total I have 3,200 watts of solar power. And because of that, the whole setup works. I think if I had less solar panels and more batteries, it wouldn't be quite as practical as it is now. There is another boat that's made, an electric catamaran, that has the exact same solar panels, pretty much the exact same motors, the same charge controllers, but they've got half the amount of panels. They've got 4 panels and exactly double the battery capacity. And I've done some calculations. When motoring for one day, they can obviously go further than I can, but from about 2 days onwards, the extra charge capacity of my boat would mean that I can motor further for a 2-day trip. Also, I can motor every single day, whereas if you've got less panels and more batteries, you typically need to find places to stop and plug in. Let's take you to the next part of the system. The next thing to show you is the wiring for the panels. So I have my panels set up in pairs, and you'll notice the wiring on, well, can you notice? The wiring on that panel goes to the front of the panel, and on this panel goes to the back, so that the wires are close together and then they are joined in parallel. So every single panel on my boat is joined to another panel partner, and joined in parallel. Now the reason you want panels in parallel is because if you get shade on one panel, your other panel works perfectly. Going in series would allow you to have your panels, you could use smaller wiring for your panels, so you could be slightly lighter. But if you're in series and you have shade on one panel, you lose both panels. Now the wires I've used are 6mm wires, which is as thick a wire as I could get into my charge controllers. So I'm not worried about the amount of wires I've got going through. And what I've done for the front panels was I've actually hooked up cutout switches over there, so I could switch my panels off if I needed to do anything. And the panels then run into my boat. And you'll see over there's another pair of wires. Those come from the other side of the boat. Again, they go under the roof, which is great. There's no leaks. And they run through to this side of the boat. And this vent over here goes through into my heads, and then from the heads it goes into my engine room at the back of the boat. And I'll take you there next. This is not my engine room. A quick pause over here. I've got the panels on the back, the arch of the boat. Don't worry about the ropes at the moment. I've got a whole bunch of things tied up now because I'm putting my boat away for the winter. But again, 2 panels left and right are hooked in next to each other. Let's go to the other side of the boat. There we can see them over there. 2 panels hooked together over there into one set of wiring, and 2 panels hooked over here into one set of wiring. And all 4 of those wires goes into the solar arch, goes down. This is actually my rudder enclosure, underneath my feet. And then from the rudder enclosure it goes into the boat engine room, which is where my battery and electrical equipment is. And now we can go there. So I'm sitting in my old engine room. It used to have a giant diesel engine in here. Now it's become a bit of a storage room. Let's go in and you can see where we are. It's empty at the moment, apart from some leftover fiberglass that I am basically sitting on. And let me turn the camera around and I'll give you a better view. There we go. We're on wide angle shot so that I can show you what's in here. I'll talk you through it in a minute. It's my water heater. The battery we'll talk about soon. The inverter. But what I really wanted to show you was the wires coming through the back. And these come from the arch. Excuse the mess at the moment. I've been getting things ready for winter, so I'm making a few adjustments for the next season. But these, oh, it's quite tough over there, are my solar charge controllers, and they are Victron. Everything I can get in Victron I will get in Victron. It's such good stuff. These are Victron 120s 48 volts. Now they can do 12 volts, 24 volts, or 48 volt. They do all three. And I've got the power going in here to, it says, sorry, I've got the power going in here to the, from the photovoltaics, and out of the photovoltaics into the battery. And if we follow those wires along, this is the bus bar over here. All the negatives go to that bus bar, and all the positives come in here into a set of circuit breakers. These are 16 amp circuit breakers. They are DC rated for 70 volts, so they are definitely very good there. And they're just there in case some of the wiring gets too hot, and they will pop their fuses down. You should never disconnect these while you've got sunlight outside, because you should never cut power to your solar charge controllers while you are actually still feeding power into the boat. But yeah, so there, ooh, excuse me, there's two solar charge controllers. So this controls two panels, that controls two panels. And if we cross to the other side, over there in the dark, can you really see? You can see a little bit. I have two more solar charge controllers, and these are from the panels on the front of the boat. And again, same story, negatives to the bus bars, positives to the breaker box. And then we finally get to the battery. I've put a plastic cover on top of the battery, but inside here, I think I've got another video showing, are 16 280 amp hour batteries, all connected in series. So it's called a 48 volt nominal pack. It is higher than 48 volt, and it almost always reads higher than 48 volt. But in total amounts of power, I have 14.4 kilowatt hours of power. Now my motors are 12 kilowatts at full power, so in theory I could go full power on the motors for just over an hour. I could go half power for 2 hours, but typically for my boat to cruise at 5 knots, I need to be putting in somewhere between 2 and 2.2 kilowatts of power. Obviously if there's wind and big waves, I'll need to put more, but on flat water 2 to 2.5 kilowatts will give me 4.5 to 5 knots. And I can do that with no sun for 6 hours of the day, and I can do it with the sunlight. If it's a good sunny summer's day, I can do that indefinitely. Basically I'll be putting in that amount of power into my batteries from 10 o'clock all the way up until 5-6 o'clock in that evening. My battery management system is based on a JDB system. It's nice, it's got Bluetooth, so I can see what each cell is doing. And it's got a giant capacitor over there, so it's a capacitor-based system, and the capacitor lets it pass a lot of current. Now my 12 volt systems, and I've got two 12 volt batteries on the boat, one for the dinghy and one for the house, run on something called FETs. But a FET-based system, you struggle to find something that'll be able to push out 150, 200 amps. This is 300 amps rated, and because it's a capacitor, keep saying capacitor, sorry, it's a relay based system, it'll have no trouble putting that out. They do consume a little bit more power in standby mode, but when you're talking about things like a bicycle or something with a very small battery, a scooter, maybe that's a problem. But when you're talking about things like boats and cars, a relay's power consumption is virtually invisible. From there, the negative power goes into the negative bus bar. I've got two 35mm cables going into the negative bus bar, and the positive side also two cables going into a fuse and into the positive bus bar. This little box over there is my temperature sensor and voltage sensor. I added that recently because my boat is going to be in negative temperatures. And then from the positive bus bar, I've got three fuses. One fuse for the first motor, another fuse for the second motor, and the third fuse for, you can see a little switch over there. Third fuse is for my Multiplus. I love my Multiplus. It gives me power all day long. Multiplus 2, and I can also use it as a charger, which I had to do recently because we were in Grado for a very long time with a lot of rain, and we didn't have enough power coming through. So I plugged the boat in, and the next morning the battery was full again. That's the only time I've ever had to charge the battery, because With sunlight coming in and 3,200 watts of panel, we've been doing everything we need to do on solar power. Let's go and see the engines. And I'm not on my boat, I'm sitting behind it. I have my controls over here, and the boat is over there. And the reason for that is because my boat is wireless, which I really, really love. Now, all I need to do to be able to test my motors is hit the power button. There we go. Wait for it to synchronize. And if I wanted to start my port motor, all I do, let's try and get this in line with the video, is, it's hard to get all of that in one shot, is push the motor forward. And you can't actually see it spinning because it's, there we go. It is spinning. Let's make it go fast. There we go. And I can reverse it by going the other way. Now I've just realized there's a rope hanging down next to my starboard propeller, so I'm not going to test that one and potentially wrap it up. But you get the idea. The motors are wireless, and because of that it means I can control the boat from pretty much anywhere I like. And I do often sit, and if I'm sitting on watch, I might be inside the living room. Stand up and show you the living room. I might be right in the front of the living room over there. I might be sitting at the back corner over here, and if I needed to change direction quickly, I can either add some power or use one motor in reverse to slow down one side of the boat if I needed to. And that works great. And that's the gist of it. I'm sure I've missed a few things, but if you have any questions, let me know. But again, yeah, so I consider my boat to be a solar-powered boat and not a battery-powered boat. And just to go through those stats again, so 14.4 kilowatt hours of solar, it's basically 51.2 volts, 280 amps. Each of those cells, there's 16 cells, are from a company called Eve, and these are the Eve 280K batteries. And in theory, they are good for, I think they're good for about 6,000 cycles at 80% capacity. I'll check for you in a minute on how many cycles I've put in, but I've gotten nowhere near that. Solar panels, 3,200 watts, 14.4 kilowatt hours of battery, and 12 kilowatt motors. They are rated for 10 horsepower each, basically, but I think that's a rating they use just to get under the, they call them 9.9s, just to get under the 10 horsepower mark for regulations. In practice, I feel they give a lot more power. Sailing Uma had a quote in one of their videos that they believe that you take the amount of kilowatts and you multiply it by 4 and you get the amount of horsepower equivalent. So they think a 10 kilowatt motor is about the equivalent of a 40 horsepower diesel. On paper this is about I think it's about 6 kilowatts, would be about 8 or so horsepower. In practice I think these are about the equivalent of 12 horsepower motors. I think you can pretty safely double it, that a 6 kilowatt motor is worth about 12 horsepower. This boat originally came with 10 horsepower motors, so I think I've got more power than I used to have with the diesels, or at least the boat used to have with the diesels, because I never operated it as a diesel boat. Overall, I'm actually thrilled by the way the boat has been doing. Typically when I'm sailing, and I didn't see a marina for the whole month of August, we moved pretty much every day, is I would start my day off probably with about 60 or 70% battery, depending on how much power we consumed at night. You saw the inverter. I use the inverter for cooking, I use it for heating water, I use it to make water on my 220 volt water maker, and I would probably wake up with about 60, 65, 70% battery capacity and start moving. And if I start at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, I've probably got about a kilowatt of solar power going in, and I would set my motors to use 500 each, and that would probably get me going along quite nicely at 3 knots, a nice slow cruising speed. And as the day heated up, as the sun got higher, I would start pulling in more power, so 1500 watts, 2 kilowatts, and I would typically give some of that power to the batteries, normally charging my battery at about 500-600 watts, and I would give everything else to the motors until I reached a point where I was using around about 2.2 kilowatts of power, which gets me 4.5-5 knots, which is the speed I like to cruise at. And then I would give all the rest into the batteries, and I would usually have the batteries full at about 1-2 o'clock. And if I'm doing a 25-mile day, which is a comfortable day for me, that would be about an hour or two left in the day before I'd reach my destination. And what I would often do then is I would increase the speed just a little bit more, so maybe just over 5 knots, 5.5. 6 knots requires nearly 6-7 kilowatts of power, so I would never go that fast, but I would squeeze out a little bit more than 5 at times. When I'd get to my destination then, if the sun was still up, I would try and use a little bit of extra power because my panels are full now. Sorry, my batteries were full. I would switch on the water heater, which on a typical day, I've got a 30-litre water heater, so after 2 showers, it would probably use somewhere between 700 and 800 watt hours of power, which for me is about 20 minutes on the solar panels. And if I needed to make water, I would typically be making water for about, if my tanks are empty and I've got 70 liters an hour, typically an hour and a half to 2 hours of making water. I wouldn't do it every day. I think I make water every 3 or 4 days. I do heat the water heater every day though. And I'll do all of that and do my cooking the next day, and the batteries would be back on 60 to 70% the next day, and I'm good to go again. If I'm at anchor and it's still in summer, I consider myself to have pretty much unlimited power. I can do anything I want day and night, and the batteries will be fully charged again the next day. I've never had a situation where my batteries weren't fully charged at the end of the day while cruising. So it's been really, really practical, really, really good. I have in winter now, in late October, early November, when we've had weeks full of rain, I have had some times where the batteries are not fully charged the next day. If it's 2 or 3 days of rain, not a problem, because I still get some power in. I get about 500 to 600 watts on a cloudy day. But if it goes on for too long, then we need to start thinking about either plugging in or going out to eat, because I don't have any alternative to eating without using electricity. And the biggest users of power on my boat is actually at the moment my fridge, which is an older Dometic. It uses 110 watts constantly, which is about twice what an efficient fridge would do. And the next biggest user is the Starlink dish, and I will go and show you the Starlink soon. I run my Starlink 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. My inverter never switches off, and it's great to have broadband access. I've never been without internet access on the entire trip, going from the south of Pulla all the way to Venice, cutting across parts of the ocean at times. It's been fully covered with internet, going all the way back again and then around. We've never had a time where Starlink hasn't worked for us, so it is great. I do recommend it. It's costing me 61 euros a month, and I think it is well worth it. Let me know in the comments if you've got any other questions you'd like to ask. I will try and reply to all of the questions or all of the comments. And yeah, that's my boat. It's on land at the moment, and it's going to be on land until probably April next year. I think we'll put it back into the water. We're heading to Portugal. The boat will live here, and then next year we'll start sailing again, and hopefully we'll have working sails. My sails haven't worked this season. One of the downsides of having all those solar panels is I need to raise the boom. So I've got a quote waiting for somebody who's going to help me try and raise the boom above the panels, and hopefully that means I'll be able to sail as well as motor, and I think that will be a real benefit to having a sailboat. It's not just motoring all over the show. It's been great. All right, thanks for watching.